Right, so we're making tulips today, and you'll have two different types of food can. So this type, water's pouring out, the lid just comes off with a tin opener, whatever your tin opener's like. Let's see if we can get the rest of it off. There we go. Obviously save that for another project. And the other end has also got a similar lip, so you can just take that off as well, and you'll end up with a tube. Now we only want to use the tin in the middle, or the aluminium, whatever they're made out of, and we need to remove this rim. So the best way to do that is, I always find the little seam down the middle, if you can see it. If not, it doesn't matter. Snip down. Now be careful, because these are sharp, so these little corners can scratch you if you're not careful, so you might want to wear gloves for this bit. You're boring a bit open now. To remove these, I haven't found any particularly good way of doing it. I tend to do it and then fold it out of the way. There you go, and then we need to do the same with that one. There you go. And then you've got your usable piece of tin. Now we want to get 2 squares out of it to make the tulips. So just roughly measuring, let's say about there, shall we? To make 1 square, and then cut a little bit like that off. I'm just measuring it with my eye. There you go. 2 squares to make our tulips. But let me show you how to do the other type of tin first. Alright, so the other type of tin will have this rounded bottom, and you can't use your tin opener on it. So what you have to do, and these, I have to admit, I've had worse scratches with these ones than the other type of tin. I'm going to cut down, so it's a little bit tough to get through this initial rim. The top, this was a pull can, it was a dog food tin. So and then you're just going to have to cut round the bottom to cut the bottom off. They're obviously made in a different way, and that bottom bit doesn't seem to be very useful because it's all welded together so tightly. Okay, so you can't do it that neatly, but that's the bottom bit cut off. Then we still need to remove this band from the top, so you just use your tin zips for that. Here we go. So I've removed that band at the top, I've removed the bottom bit, and now I've got my rectangle of tin that's usable. Okay, and I want to cut 2 squares. Again, they're going to be slightly smaller because I've had to cut more of the bottom up. I can't save so much of the can. There we go. And then we'll cut, so let's say about there, shall we? Here I've got my 2 squares, 2 rough squares of tin. Alright, so at this point, if you have a hammer, you may want to take them outside, or I like to do them on my concrete doorstep, and hammer some of the ridges down. It makes them a bit more flexible, it changes the texture, and you won't have such a, like so many ridges, such a strong ridge. It's unlikely that it'll get rid of all of them, but it does change the texture a little bit. So I'm going to go and do that with a couple of these. Alright, so here we are. Got some slightly, these are the ones that I hammered. Might just trim that teeny bit. And that's now a bit more rectangular, so I want it more square. These are still the same because I haven't hammered the white ones. Okay, so first step, we're going to cut not right to the middle, but we're going to do 4 cuts, 1 in each side. So leave a bit in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you want it to look like, and then go and do that with all of the tulips that you're making. So I've cut the 4 lines into each square. Now this middle bit is going to be the bottom of your tulip, so I'm going to drill 2 holes in each of these, so they're almost going to look like buttons. To do that, I just get a piece of wood to lean on, use my electric drill, the positioning doesn't really matter, and then go and do that with the other ones that you've got. Alright, so here's my tulips so far. I've got the holes drilled in the middle, and we're ready to start cutting the petals. So to do that, we're going to go from each corner. In fact, if I move these out of the way, going to go from each corner, and you're going to do like a kind of quite a fat shape. And then you're going to turn over and do the other one. And then you can see that's your first tulip petal. So then just go and do that with the others. So remember, you want a kind of fat. We're just using our tin snips to do this. Alright, and then of course once you've done this for one of your squares, go ahead and do that with the other tulips that you're making if you've got other squares on the go at the same time. So here are my flowers, and for the next step you're going to need your tin snips again. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut from the point of each petal right down, not right down to the middle, but a little bit above, let's say about 1 centimetre. Smooth those out of the way. So let's say, yeah, so it's probably about 1 centimetre or a centimetre and a bit more than that. So they're going to look like that. Let's do that with the others. All right, there you go, they're all cut like that. Now, the next stage you can use your fingers for, or you can use pliers. Depends how strong your fingers are. Let's move the others out of the way, shall we? This is how we're going to make the tulips have a 3D shape. So you're going to get you to decide which side is your front, and you're going to fold these in over each other like that. Oops, there you go. And then fold that back one over the front one. A little bit of a tricky one. Then I'm going to just use my tin snips to snip off that spare point now. And then you have a nice cup shape tulip leaf. Let's do that again. If we do it from this side this time. So you fold them towards each other. And the back one needs to fold over. If you want to do it, you can get your pliers if you want, that's fine. And then that little spare sticky out bit, use your tin snips and just cut that bit off because that's the spare bit now. All right. Let's do it again. So fold that in, fold the back one over, and then trim the little point off. Again, fold them over, back one folds into the middle. You can decide how cup shape, oops, wrong tool, that's my pliers. If you've got pliers, you can just after that go and just give them an extra squish down the middle, but they should be fine. I did this without pliers the first time round. And then you've got your little cup-shaped tulip, and we're going to do that with all the others, and then we're going to go and paint them. Okay, so I've made a spraying booth out of an old box. That's what I spray my flowers in. It's outside in a shed. You don't be breathing anywhere near this stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red, and leave those to dry and turn them over and do the other side. Alright, so I've painted my flowers, and I got some fancy paint pens for Christmas, these Posca ones, so I did a few little lines on the outside, see what that will look like. We now need to thread them up. So you get your piece of wire. Oops. And then you're going to cut it through as if you were, thread it through as if you were sewing a button on. So like that. Pull it tight, and then you want to twist this round to make the stem of the tulip. Obviously you can do it as long as you want. Now the tulip is now ready to be folded up to its cup shape, so it's up to you how you do that. You can use your fingers. They're quite, obviously you can choose your shape a little bit. And if you squash them together, there you go, there's a tulip shape. I might go over with my pliers and bend some of the petals round a little bit like that. That is essentially what I want my tulips to look like. Then it's just a case of doing it with the rest. And there are my tulips. So I've done quite short stems because I think I'll put these on a wreath with some other flowers, but you could make longer stems and put them in a vase, and I might put a bit more paint on top of some of these. They're looking a bit bare, but on the whole I quite like the look of those.